Welcome back to yet another episode of Get, Set, Go. And then today, obviously, I got a big smile. I got my brother in the back, finally got some help. But also, I have a really big smile because I want you guys to check this clip out. What's not to love about this car? Really, you can get things in this car that you can't find in any other car. This car keeps you engaged. It's raw and violent driving experience, starting with, of course, the exhaust, the manual steering column, in addition to the unassisted driving experience. I don't even think there's ABS in this car. Maybe you guys in the comment sections can correct me. But like I said, this car is perfect except for, and let's get to those reasons. Let's start in the front. People are fucking, get this guy. Minivan, don't give a fuck. As you guys can see how wide this car is, I think this car is as wide as it is long, which means that it has a really wide turning radius. I think the numbers actually make this car to have the same turning radius as the Escalade. So picture that, that's pretty intense. In addition to that, this car rarely has any storage. Check this out. So this has a lot of potential for storage. You guys can see how big and wide it is. However, this frunk doesn't even open. Check this out. In addition to that, I want you to zoom in, get that action. Tell me what you guys see or don't see. No glove box, right? The glove box is actually right here. Give me the camera right here. Watch, check this out. So this is your glove box. Excuse all the promotion here. That's your glove box right there, ladies and gentlemen. Which leads me into the next thing about this car. See this? There's no button to open this, whether on here or on the key itself. So I'll have to go around here, hit this latch, and then once you do that, this is what you get. Right there. It's enough for a carry-on, but just make sure you don't have any chocolate back here because it does get pretty hot. First world problems. So let's hop on in. So check this out. So to get in, this is what you got to do. Sit your ass down, crawl over. What really makes it a challenge is if you see here, this thing is just about like a foot long for you to hop over before you can actually get into the seat. And once you're on the seat, check this out. You got this, and this right here. And that's it. That's as far back as I can go. Maybe if I can push it, go a little forward, but that's, again, as far back as I can go. So if you're tall, I'm 5'9", could get away with it, but if you're 6 feet tall, if you look up here, you're not gonna get away with this car. So now let's get to driving this car and I'll show you guys what I don't like about the driving experience. The thing I don't like about this car much is the bump steer. I don't know what to pinpoint or what contributes to it. In my opinion, I'd say it's a combination of the manual gearbox. Again, there's no electric assist. In addition to that, I'm pretty sure the rims have a little say in all the bump steer. But like I said, bump steer, not the biggest fan of it. You really start to see the personality of this car come out in the lower gears, higher revs, tight corners. Minimal straightaways. Obviously, that's what I said is a downfall of this car. It's a really shortcoming because the power to weight ratio is really good around corners, but when it gets to those straightaways, that's where you really start to see the car struggle. Just check out the clip of this car versus the Lambo. But because this car doesn't produce that much horsepower, you really need to keep it in the lower gears. That's where you really start to see it maximize its full potential. As far as like, you know, my brother even mentioned there's a lot of turbo lag. Obviously that's true. There's a lot of reviews that put this out, so I'm not gonna talk about that. But what I will talk about though is that you need to keep the gears in the lower gears. So right here in the canyons, my brother said it was best around 3rd gear. There was times where I got to 4th gear, but really that's the maximum. you don't want this car in a long circuit track day. You want to keep it short as possible, tight turns, because again, there is turbo lag. It does exist in this car. Not everything is bad about this car, so let's talk about why this car is actually perfect and when it's actually a perfect scene, right? So the first off, that aggressive sound. I mean, it sounds very violent. What do you think?
Pretty insane, just hearing it right in the back of your ears, mine.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a very engaging drive, and with that sound, it just makes it all that much better. It's right behind your head. I'd say it's probably like at least a foot away from all the monstrosities of just that thing just cranking behind you. You know, my brother was driving it with the window down. Like I said, the sound is very violent, and that's why I labeled the first review I did on this car, this thing drives like a bat out of hell, because it does. Funny thing is that the negative I said in the first part of this video is going to be a positive in this part of the video, and that's just the raw nature of this car. There's no power steering, there's no electric assist, there's no assist of any kind with a steering column. This thing is as manual as it gets. It's a very engaging drive. The brakes run really, really well. The power to ratio is just enough for you to get around those corners, but like you guys seen in the video of me chasing the Lambo, there's a lot of bump steer, there's a lot of tram lining, and this car is not as fast on the straightaway as a lot of people would like, including myself. Also, the thing is, there's no body roll in this car. It feels as if it drives on tracks. Like you guys see in the video that I'm gonna play here again, I mean, you see me punching 70, 80 miles on a turn without any hesitation, you know? You trust this car, it'll take care of you. It'll bring you around. And like I said, because the wheelbase is almost as wide as the car itself is long, the chances of you drifting in this car is very, very impossible, it feels. Because the wheelbase is so long, sorry guys, you see a corner, you just gotta take it. No exceptions. Like I said, because the wheelbase is so long and this car likes to be revved, you can really push it beyond its limits. I honestly think this car doesn't have any limit, and that's why you see me pushing it the way I did, because I've driven a lot of cars at this point. I mean, not within this class, but I can say that this car does handle really, really well. Like I said, you can really push it to its limits without really worrying whether it's gonna pull through for you. Just have faith in the car and the car will push you through. Just check out this B-roll, guys. Look how sexy this car is. This car gets looks from all corners. It looks like a Ferrari. It's Italian. The curvature is just amazing. I mean, my favorite car is the Lotus, but this is a car I'd definitely consider only if they had the option for a manual gearbox. Obviously they don't, but I'd like to appreciate just the way it is. Also the dual clutch transmission. I mean, it shifts in 134 milliseconds. I mean, what else can you really ask for? I know they did skimp out on the manual gearbox, but the fact that they added in a dual clutch and they didn't cheap out on like a torque vectoring or CVT for that matter, it really spoiled us with a dual clutch transmission. Like I said, downshifts are just on the fly. All right, so that pretty much concludes the video, but I want to really get my brother's opinion and see what he thinks about it. It's his first time in this car. He has no experience with Alfa Romeo. What do you think?
Smooth drive.
Basically, really, touch it if you have to.
A couple things, obviously the seats as he was mentioning. I do like the fact that you have the engine right in the back. You can hear it. You can be really with the car.
You had to buy this car and you were comparing it to you know, like the Miata. You like the Miatas. What would you like about this car that maybe you won't find there, and vice versa?
Power.
Power here.
Yeah, compared to that. It's obviously a lot more sturdy, and it feels a lot more safe to take the cannons. It's meant to be out here.
Big time. But some of the reasons you don't like it, I mean, for sure we can probably agree that this car is not for somebody that has back pain.
Yeah, definitely.
You got back pain now? Yeah. You have back pain?
Yeah, definitely now.
Yeah, I think he had back pain before, and I think it's worse now. My brother mentioned that if he feels that this car needs an alignment. This car does tramline a lot, so it goes with the curve of the road. So if there's like a little dip, little angle, best believe it's pulling you to one side. And again, that's how intense the tramline is that my brother thought that he needed, or that this car needed, an alignment. But yeah, that pretty much concludes the video. If you want a car that's meant for a raw experience, short circuit track, or even the canyons like right here in Los Angeles, this is the car for you. It's great power to weight ratio. If that's not enough for you, you can always bump up that 237 to at least 300 with a stage 2 tuning if your pockets are deep enough. Other than that, if you're in the city like myself, Los Angeles is a bitch to drive through. I don't know where all the taxis are going to because there's a lot of potholes everywhere. Like I said, if you want a car that's more comfortable, look somewhere else. If you want a car with slightly more straightaway power, look somewhere else. If you want a car that doesn't tramline and you need a little assist in the steering, definitely look for another car. But like I said, if you want a raw driving experience, a car that really engages your senses, a car that you can just get away from the city, get away from the family, get away from the friends, and really just feel connected with yourself, I mean, this is the car to do it. When I'm driving this car with the sounds, even the bump steer is actually a really engaging experience. You really begin to feel one with this car, especially at those higher speeds. So if that's something you guys are considering, like I like myself, you guys take care. Brother, close it.
Take care. Peace.